Hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Owen. I am a 31-year-old. I live in Chicago. I have been living here for quite a while now and like the city, hate the cold, but I enjoy it here. I am recently new to YouTube. I haven't had a real YouTube of my own, and so this is my first, shot at this, and I'm really excited about what I want to go ahead and make this channel about. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I wanted to have a story time today and a chance for you to get to know a little bit about me and a little bit about where I come from. And eventually I do want to go ahead and talk about what I want to make this YouTube all about. But I feel like you always want to start somewhere. You always want to start by getting to know somebody and getting to know what they're all about and who they are. And so today I'm going to have a little bit of a story time and talk about myself and talk about where I'm from, a little bit about, kind of my history. I was born in Florida, and I was raised there up until I was, in my, I would say probably like 14, 15, and ended up moving over to Texas and spent the rest of my kind of youth in Texas, in Houston to be exact. And I grew up kind of an awkward kid. I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I was kind of, shy, and I didn't know how to interact with people. And so that was definitely challenging for me. I had a couple friends, here and there, but never like, close-knit, friends that I always hang out with, or a group of friends, I'm sorry. And I was always kind of awkward. But I kind of, got a little older, and I went into an art school, and I definitely started developing, some of my talents. I, went and did art, I did theater, I did music, definitely focused on those things, all throughout middle school and, into my high school career. And that was so much fun. Those are the kind of like my best memories, were doing those things. School was not for me. I definitely excelled more in the arts, and I enjoyed that because I kind of felt like I was around people that were like me and had the same kind of personality that I had, kind of goofy and silly, and I enjoyed being around, that environment so much. It was kind of the distraction from, the things that were going on in my head at the time. If you haven't guessed, I'm gay. Not like I need to say it, but whatever, I'm gay, and that's okay, and I don't care. I've definitely come into my own feeling like myself, for the past, 30 years. I'm 31 years old. And I definitely have experienced some trials in my life up until this point. Just to kind of talk about being gay and kind of like my coming out story. I was a Christian. I still have Christian mindset, or I guess I would call it spiritual views now. And I grew up kind of basically, in a household where my mom was not like religious. My dad grew up Catholic, and we kind of never really got into the, church thing, when I was really little, because my mom didn't want to go to church. My dad kind of wanted to go to Catholic church, but wouldn't go very often. And essentially, like, that would leave me to like kind of develop on my own. So when I was about 13, I was saved at a summer camp that I went to. It was a Christian summer camp, and it was in Florida. I really enjoyed it because I felt like there was a really good group of people who were friendly, people who weren't judging me for anything, and that felt really nice to feel included by, good people. And so that's what really kind of sucked me into the church, and it kind of spiraled me into this very evangelical, Christian, and I was witnessing the people, and I was in my freshman year of high school, I ended up starting the very first Christian group on my campus, and that was really cool at the time. I thought, I'm doing something good, but during that time was kind of awkward because I was still kind of like figuring out who I was. I wanted to figure out who I was because of the fact that I had all these roaming around thoughts in my head about guys and about being gay. And this is kind of right around the time when you start kind of developing those sorts of sexual feelings. And for me, that was awkward because I was in a Christian environment, which that was not something you do, obviously. And I was very mixed about how I felt because on one hand, I'm taught something that is making me say, oh, well, that's bad. You're going to go to hell. You're going to essentially not ever inherit the kingdom of God. And I had really strong feelings about, that I really felt like I was gay. I didn't feel like I was attracted to women, and I didn't feel that same connection towards women that I did towards men. And I knew that at a young age that there was something different. And I always kind of hid that aspect of my life. And when I was in my freshman year, some boy that I was, kind of had a crush on, but he was straight, and I was kind of being a little too flirty, but not anything crazy. And then he ended up telling my pastor, and my pastor basically like called me around with a bunch of other like youth staff, and basically had this like intervention to kind of like pray away the gay and kind of give me an ultimatum that if I didn't tell my parents that I was gay, that they were going to tell my parents that I was gay. And I was terrified because I had no idea what my parents were going to say about that. I had no idea what I was going to do. So I told them, I'll tell them. And I essentially went home that night and I didn't tell them. I did in fact tell a lie to the church and said, yeah, I told them, and that my parents were very unhappy about it, just to kind of please them, so they knew that like, I was being taken care of. And at that point, it really started to kind of change my perception of church and how people were, gonna, treat me. And it was right around this time that my dad had got relocated to Texas and that we were gonna move. So it was kind of the perfect timing for me to kind of get away from that whole, atmosphere, because people were already starting to talk about me being gay. And I was kind of like stepping away from the church a little bit at that particular time. I wasn't going to youth group as much. And then we moved to Texas, and it was kind of like a new fresh start and people who didn't know me. But of course, being in a red state, I was even more closeted than I was back in Florida. And I had a few close friends, when I went to school in Texas, and it was definitely, a pretty good school, but the kids were rich. The parents, spoiled these kids. They all had nice cars. They had nicer cars than the teachers. So I was definitely trying to establish myself in that area when we didn't have a lot of money. And I personally, was just really trying to fit in. And I told a couple people that I was gay, and it was around that time that I ended up it was around that time that I ended up, I'm gonna give this another try. I really do, want to be a Christian. I don't want that to be, this to be the factor that, causes me to not, not be able to be, a part of, this thing that I called myself. So I was living this double life, and I had this boyfriend, and I was serving in my church. I was singing in my worship group. I was leading, children's Bible study and helping out with children's Bible study. I was going on mission trips. I was doing a lot in the church, and part of their family. And I thought I had gotten close enough with this one girl who was in the church, and she made me feel a little like I could kind of lower my guards a little bit. She didn't seem super, focused in the church, and, she felt like she was a Christian, but, was also kind of doing her own thing too, and figuring herself out. And so I opened up to her and basically said, I have a boyfriend, and I'm really happy, and this is for the first time I understand kind of who I am, and I feel like I am gay, and I feel like this is who God made me out to be. And she essentially said, "Oh, that's awesome, Owen. I'm so happy for you, and this is just great, So I felt at peace knowing that she's supportive of me, even though she's in the church, and maybe that gives me hope that it'll be different. But then I got to church about a week later after this happened, and she had told my pastor, and she ran up to me before I had went into church one day, and she was in tears, and she said, I'm so sorry. Like I had to tell, I didn't feel right, holding on to this secret. And so I told, the pastor, and he's going to want to talk to you. And at that point I knew that this was over. I wouldn't be able to kind of be in this church anymore. And lo and behold, I got pulled into a meeting with the pastor, and he basically kind of just sat me down and was asking me, so, I hear rumors that you're thinking that you're gay. Is that true? Yeah, you're right. And he goes, I also hear you have a boyfriend. And I said, yes, I do. And he goes, okay, well, it kind of seems that you're falling off the path of righteousness, and you're not seeking God in the right way. And I said, okay, I understand, but I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong or sinful. And he said, well, the church doesn't stand for that, Owen, and we wouldn't feel right letting you serve in our church if you're thinking about those thoughts and you're pursuing those thoughts. And we believe that when you are ready to, kind of repent and you turn away from your sinful ways, that we'll be able to allow you to kind of serve back in the church, and you're welcome to keep coming to church. You're welcome to keep coming. We love you, and we want you to be here, but we just can't have anyone thinking that we support those bad lifestyle choices. And I basically, my whole world just kind of fell beneath me, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is what it's gonna be. I'm being kicked out of the one thing that made me happy and made me feel fulfilled, and made me question everything about Christians and about what Christianity is all about and what organized religion is all about. And that this happened once at one church and then another church, what does it say about Christians? And made me so angry, and felt like, fuck it, I don't care, I'm just gonna be whoever the fuck I want to be. You know, if you're not gonna support me, then fine, I'm gonna date whoever I want to date, you know, whatever. And so I did. I slutted it up. Didn't care, you know. I mean, it happens to the best of us when we're young, and I was reveling in the fact that I can do whatever the fuck I want. I was sneaking downtown, I was sneaking into bars underage, wiping off the X off my hand and just going in and getting a drink. And you can do that in Texas, they don't really care. But so I was really enjoying it. I was loving being who I was, and understanding that, like, this is okay. This is okay for me to be gay. And meanwhile, the church was definitely, you know, hearing about all the things that I was doing, and, you know, how outspoken I was becoming about me being gay. And I was, you know, kind of more out to other friends in school, and I had people from my church coming up to me in school and saying, "Oh, Owen, pastor is having, I had a prayer circle yesterday, and you know, it was a bunch of students and, you know, a couple faculty members at the church, and that we were praying for you, and we were praying that, you know, the good Lord, you know, takes you back in and wipes away this homosexuality, from this evil from your life." And I just looked at her, and I was like, really? Like, who are you even? Like, I don't even know you, and you're like coming up to me and like saying you're praying for me. Like, I was like, you know what? I'm so done with all of this. And I was so happy that that part of my life was kind of over. And I still had a very negative taste about religion for a while, after, you know, into my college years at least. And that's when I really started to kind of, like, when I got to college, I moved to Chicago, I went to an art school, I was around, you know, a very diverse group of people, and I felt, you know what, this is right, this is me, you know, I'm happy with who I am, and I'm not gonna change who I am to fit the needs of whatever people, you know, claim that's the way life is supposed to be. And so but I still felt that lack of spirituality in my life without having my church. So I've definitely, like, researched religions. I've researched, you know, things about Buddhism, about Hinduism, about atheism, and just different, you know, outlooks. And I definitely circle around the idea of, we are all here in this earth for a certain amount of time. We're all supposed to be here to figure ourselves out, and to be kind to one another, and learn to love one another, and accept people for who they are. And because we all have a gift, we all have something to offer this world, one way or another. And I don't believe that this bullshit about how if you are a Christian, you're perfect, you're, you know, everything is set for you if you're doing these list of things. No, I just believe that you can be good, you can be an honest person, you can be a helpful person to human beings, and not judge them based upon something you don't understand and something maybe you're not about. But I truly believe there is a place for us in this world, and I believe that, you know, this divine being, whatever it is, because no one really knows what it is, I believe that it's this energy force that is driving through each one of us. So I guess you can say we are all God. God is within us, all of us. Doesn't matter if you're Jewish or Hindu or Muslim, whatever, we all have that same energy flowing through us. And I don't believe for a second that anyone is going to hell. I believe hell is being created here on a day-to-day basis. Look at fucking who's in office. Orange tinted buffoon. And, you know, I just believe that, you know, we create the hell in this earth, but I believe when we die and we move on to whatever it is after this, I believe that what that is just what heaven's supposed to be. It's not you get to heaven and you don't because you did this and this and this. I believe everything happens for a reason. There's, for every equal cause, there's a reaction. What you put out in this world is what you get back. I do believe in the law of attraction when it comes to that, because I've fallen victim of my own mistakes and it's caught up with me, and I understand, you know, why I did certain things, and, you know, and why I got to the place that I am. And I believe if people started thinking about things in that light, that it would feel a lot better in this world. People would be a lot more humble and a lot more good to one another. And I just try to be good to people. I try to be nice to people, and I think that's just the way to be. You know, I don't believe that, you know, me being gay is what makes me me. I believe that being gay is essentially just a part of me. You know, just a small little part of me. And it's a small part of you if you are gay or lesbian or trans or, you know, non-binary, whatever the case may be. I think we are all created as one. I think that it's important for everyone to know that you are an amazing human being and you have the potential to be good and honest, and I feel like you need to keep trying to strive for that. We're all imperfect, we're all gonna fuck up, we're all gonna make mistakes, but the truth at the end of the day is to keep being yourself and loving yourself and loving those around you, and just keep pushing through. You know, we're all trying to figure this life out, and it's gonna happen. I came out to my parents, and I'm so happy that my parents are supportive of me. I am blessed to have parents that love me and support me for me, because I know there are kids out there that do not have that support system. And it's so nice because my dad has been there for me, and he jokes around with me about my drag, doesn't really get it, and neither does my mom for that matter. But my dad definitely he definitely loves to tease me about the drag stuff. You know, when I picked him up at the airport, he's like, where are you? I don't see you in the baggage claim. Should I be looking for Bethany? And so I always like tease him back. I'm just like, yeah, Dad, I'm dressed like a prostitute, you know, that way you have an escort to your hotel. And he just, you know, he's like, but he's really supportive, and so is my stepmom. My stepmom, you know, she's really been close and helped me get through, you know, a lot of stuff too. So it's been really nice to have that support system. My mom and I have always been really very close. I call her, you know, as often as I can talk to her, and we always have, you know, nice conversations, and she's always been very, very supportive of me throughout whatever choices I wanted to go through, you know, with art or whatever, and just letting me kind of do my own thing, and that's been really nice. So yeah, that's essentially my story. I wanted to have a chance for you guys to kind of get to know me and know what I'm about and where I'm from, and you know, what it's like being a gay person and coming from a Christian background and all of that. And I'm sure there's similar stories out there for sure, but this is my chance for you to get to know me, and I'm definitely open, you know, to questions. If you guys want to know more about me and what I'm about, I'd love to record more videos like this for you to get to know me. little vlogs, I guess. Yeah, so there's gonna be more videos to come. Don't worry. I hope this didn't bore you too much, getting to know all these different stories, but this is who I am, and I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you subscribe and tune in for whatever is gonna come up next. I don't even know at this point, and I will let you know what I'm doing next, so stay tuned. Bye, guys.